Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at The Fourth World by John Byrne Omnibus. So cool. Can't wait to show it to you. So I'm going to cue the intro, hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll be right back.
MichaelFitzTroytv Comic book art critiques. Snark, talk, and sarcastic ways. Levels and geeky gaze. 80s comics rule the day. Hurry up and turn that page. Michael Fitz Troy.
Alright, so I guess I've been sitting on this for a little bit, but I'm so in love with this book, and I'm so excited to show it to you. There is a slight controversy over it that's kind of weird that I'm going to tell you right now. So John Byrne took over The Fourth World by Jack Kirby. It was like 97 or something like that. And with like issue 12. So I forget who was doing it before him, but obviously, I don't know, like they needed to change or the creative team just like felt done or whatever. So John Byrne came on board and he was writing and penciling. He would become the inker later. Walt Simonsen was pretty much the cover artist throughout the whole run, if not the entire run. So the Omnibus finally comes out. It's called The Fourth World by John Byrne Omnibus. There's a Walt Simonsen cover. That was triggering for me. I feel it's John Byrne's Omnibus. There's plenty of art to choose from. They could have asked him to do a new cover. Whatever. But whatever. I don't know. I'm just like that sort of like, you know, what's right is right Capricorn sort of thing. I mean, it's like there's a lot of freaking art in here by John Byrne. So I just feel like the spotlight's on him. They're selling it on his name. And Walt Simonsen came out with the same stance. He's like, oh, it's lazy editing. It was irresponsible. It's kind of a slap in the face to Byrne, whatever. If you ask John Byrne, I'm sure he wouldn't feel that way at all. He's very good friends with Walt Simonsen. He really appreciates Walt art, which is amazing. I love Walt's art. And he was the cover artist throughout the series, so that Byrne was on, so fair enough. Okay, so that's that. So feel how you feel. I voiced my opinion. And either way, this is Byrne's art on the wraparound cover of the actual hardcover. And oh my God, is that gorgeous? Like, that is so gorgeous. Like, there is nothing better than Byrne. Well, actually, Byrne him rocking himself is kind of better, but Byrne trying to rock Kirby and just like pay homage to Kirby. Like, obviously, John Byrne is such a huge Kirby fan. Like, this is like Kirby Dots variation. Like, the epic sweeping scope of this, just, I'm a late bloomer when it comes to being a Kirby fan, and I think it's unfortunately because I discovered Byrne first. So Kirby's art always looked ugly to me. Now I absolutely adore Kirby's art. I'm sad to be in that club because I know there are other people like me, but I definitely feel like it depends. Like, you know, I feel like people who came into the Image era with like Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri and stuff probably like look less at the artists maybe 5 or 8 years before them, although they were sort of the predecessors to the Image type artists. So like if you're looking at like an Art Adams or a Michael Golden, who was like a huge influence on so many people. Neil Adams, of course, was a huge influence on Byrne. So Byrne started out, I think Bob Wiacek inked this in the beginning. We'll get into that. Anyway, I do love the way that I love a lot of things about this omnibus. First of all, you always have to appreciate like the printing, even though by this point comics were printed on butter paper. The slick stuff. We're getting more into like the computer coloring and stuff. And this is a gorgeous 2-page. Like the design work here is really nice. I do appreciate that. So it is kind of weird how the cover happened. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so this is pretty much John Byrne's run on the Fourth World, but it also includes some stuff from the Genesis miniseries. So we've got John Byrne, Walt Simonsen, Carl Kessel, and Grant Morrison listed as writers. Interesting. I guess that's the closest Byrne has ever come to working with Morrison, perhaps. Pencilers, John Byrne, Ron Wagner, Walt Simonsen, Kieron Grant. Sal Valletta, Sal Buscema, and Stephen Harris. Inkers, Byrne, Joe Rubenstein, Bob Wiacek, Ray Kreising, Annabelle Rodriguez, Walt Simonsen, and Bob Layton. Colorist, Noelle Goodings, Lee Lowridge. Patricia Mulvihill, Rick Taylor, Buzz Stetzer, Walt Simonsen. Interesting to note. I never think of Walt as a colorist. Pat Garahy. I wonder if he colors his covers. Anyway, letterers, John Byrne. John Byrne did start becoming an all-over producer, writing, penciling, inking, and lettering. Probably would be a colorist if he weren't colorblind. Even colorblind as he is, he has colored a few pieces in the past, and they're good, not great. I don't know if that's because he's colorblind or, it's like you can't have it all. Like, do you have to be a brilliant colorist too? I mean, that's fine. There's plenty of well-rounded all over people like that, but I don't know. I mean, John Byrne, he's the maestro. What can we say? Cover artists, Walt Simonsen, Alan Davis, and Mark Farber. John Byrne. I love that John Byrne is mentioned third. And Jason Pearson, the dopest. Dark Side. I can't wait till you guys see it. Hi, Father. Bye, Father. Orion, Mr. Miracle. There's a lot of joy in these characters, and introduction by Byrne. Apparently had a blast doing this. I mean, come on. This is their first issue, and this is the Walt Simonsen cover. Metron, like one of my favorite New Gods. I love him so much. I don't know why he's so cool. His Mobius chair. I love the cool, like the too cool for school characters. Like, the types you just wouldn't trifle with, the type who are just like very business-like, although he's introduced in a kind of a humble way here. Crashing in his Mobius chair. But are you gagging and dying the way I am over like the detail and like the beauty of the backgrounds? This is why like Byrne is like so amazing. Like just his sheer love of art and his technical ability, like in a way, it's almost like showing off. I don't know. And like, I feel like, it's like they spend so much time on this art and you totally take it for granted in a way. It's like there's so much going on. There's like, posters and windows and, there's reflections in the windows and there's like Venetian blinds and they're broken and just like the crazy perspective and just like the fact that he would choose this angle. It's like, just such a mastery. His father was an architect, and I feel that plays into a lot of his sensibility. I don't know if, like, how much of a wing he took him under, or if he ever, I don't know, like, when I was learning how to draw, like, my mom, not the best artist, but an artist in her own right, would sit there and draw this for me, Mom, draw this for me, Mom, draw this for me, Mom, and finally she handed me the paper and the pencil and said, Michael, you draw it. It's time for you to start. And that's how I started drawing. And that's why it's awesome to have artistic parents and why they just really need to encourage that in their kids. And if your kid likes to draw, just buy them frickin' art supplies and then encourage them as much as possible. Artists are amazing. We need artists. John Byrne is notorious for drawing terrible children, and it's funny, I guess, aside from being colorblind, his other Achilles heel is drawing children. These aren't too bad. They aren't too offensive. There's some scary pictures of Franklin out there from the Fantastic Four. Now, full disclosure, I've been trying to say and admit, I have not read Jack Kirby's New Gods. I'm familiar with the characters mostly from Justice League International. I was not like the biggest DC or Kirby fan as a child, so I quickly grew to love DC, but I feel like this was kind of beyond me, which I guess it was kind of beyond everyone. I feel like it was kind of like, unsung and sort of discovered later, like how brilliant it was. And like everything I've researched about it and like everything I know about it, I love like on so many levels. Like it's so great. The story of Orion and Light Ray being brothers and just like that whole bit. And it's just like so classic. Like Kirby is just so epic in scope. I want to point out that this is Bob Wiacek in our inking to begin with. And um, I feel like I feel like Bob Wiacek is underrated in a lot of ways. I feel like he's not an embellisher to the extent that you're looking at this and thinking, oh, these are inks by Bob Wiacek. I feel like he's one of the most faithful inkers in the way that he inks the penciled art the way it was penciled. Like if you looked at this penciled art and looked at the way Byrne inked it versus the way Wiacek inked it, oddly, I feel like it would look more like the penciled art the way Wiacek inks it, because he's more or less being faithful to the art, which is a good thing, I feel, and a huge strength in an inker. Whereas Byrne himself is looking to ink it and embellish it because it's his own art in a way, and it's, you know, your penciling is different from your inking, if that makes sense. That's just a slight observation, I suppose. I love this too. I just love, like, John Byrne is the ultimate, you know, I compare him, and he's compared a lot to George Perez. Even though they're aesthetically very different in a lot of ways, I think they share a lot of the strengths as what makes a great comic book storyteller. They pack in the details. They're not afraid of odd camera angles. They direct. They have their characters act. You know, they are telling the story. They create believable, livable spaces. And there's a poster of Wonder Woman on the wall. I love that it's Byrne's Wonder Woman too, with the only 2 stars on the panties. You know, there's checkered floor. Like, you don't even need to put in all this detail, especially now with the computer coloring. I feel like a lot of that is added. I don't mind that to an extent, but there's just nothing that can replace sort of classic comic book art with the penciling and the inking and the line work and the detail and the sheer just ability, drawing ability is what counts a lot for me, I feel. But I love art in all forms, you know. I mean, this is amazing. I love Tachyon. Like, what a great design. John Byrne draws classic-looking heroes so well. He really does excel with the Kirby characters. He has a huge fondness for them, and this is just beautiful. Him, like, sort of burning a hole through this bedroom, and you see the cutout of the mattress with the springs and the books. I mean, it's just so cool. It's cinematic in a lot of ways. You know, comics, I feel like they're always pushing comics to be more cinematic, but comics are cinematic in their own way without copying movies, you know. Comic storytelling is just major. Beautiful, beautiful Simonsen cover for Orion with this ugly face. On the fence about the coloring a little bit. Like, this is definitely okay. So now we have John Byrne inking himself, I believe, because he's also lettering. Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry, John Byrne. I was way wrong. Okay, we're not into John Byrne inking himself yet. We're still with Bob Wiacek. Okay, I stand corrected. I think, especially now in this, I can see like the lack of sort of Byrne details, but and polishing. I think maybe he did like 2 or 3 issues, so we'll see. Metron, Barda, Mr. Miracle. What a great, gorgeous splash page. I love it. That might be an example of a weird Byrne kid. They look like little old people, which arguably that's all children are anyway, right? Little old people. The circle of life and whatnot. Oh my god, that's such a great shot. Like, what a heroic pose. I love that. Byrne's such a master. Like, that's, like, even kind of simple for Byrne, but it still just stands out. And once again, I really appreciate the size of this because it's a little bit bigger. I feel like this should be the standard size for comic books because it's not full size, but it's still a little bit bigger. And like for me, it's 90% the art. So I want to be able to appreciate the art. I do love the fact that, you know, it's drawn larger. And I mean, as an artist myself, I really appreciate the fact that your art does look a lot better, like if it's drawn large and shrunk down, because like the details are more refined and come together better. But they're, you know, it just can't be compared to looking like at the original art, like the IDW artist editions that show like pretty much like the scanned original art, and getting to see all the nooks and crannies and embellishments and like the real, I guess maybe that's the difference between looking at it as a fan and looking at it as an artist yourself. Like maybe a fan just appreciates the beauty of the art and isn't sitting there trying to figure it out. Decide. I don't know. This is so cool. Once again, this is like the coolness of John Byrne too. Like this is very ordinary, which makes it, you know, like such great storytelling too. You know, there's like an end table with like a very like common lamp that we probably all grew up with like books, you know, and like a picture on the wall, like an area rug. There's a little wrinkle in it. But there just so happens to be a Desaad and like 4 parademons like standing in your living room. So, and I love it. Another like bird's eye view. Like, how the hell? Like, not many people can really pull that off. Like, so here we go. That's like a super fun like Walt Simonsen cover. I really like that. The New Gods looks like so fun and happy. That's what I like. I always thought, like looking at them, they kind of look like hippies in a way. Kind of like, everything's all right. Okay, that's my singing. How do you like that? John Byrne, words and pencils. Bob Wiacek, inker. Lee Lowridge, colorist. I love Lee Lowridge's colors normally. John Costanza, letterer, classic. Paul Kupperberg. Have to mention Paul. New Gods, created by Jack Kirby. It's a reprint, so the indica is all blacked out. Did you ever wonder? I don't think they even... Do they do that now? Maybe in the back of the book or something. I love him in the Cactusville. See, like, I feel bad. I feel like I read this when it came out and, like, liked it, but didn't feel super connected to it. But there's some really good art going on in here. Like, this character, and I feel like... It's a big testament to, I don't know, it's so great, like, just to see, like, because I feel like when Byrne did X-Men Hidden Years, like, he had Fantastic Four appear and Joe Sinnott inked it. I feel like that's, like, him, like, really trying to do Kirby. And I feel like he's sort of trying to do Kirby in a way, but the fact that Bob Wiacek is inking it, like, it still looks like a lot like Byrne. So I love that. And a very handsome character. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're all really, like, good looking. And it reminds you of the fact that Kirby used to do romance comics and can really pull off, like, you know, beautiful, happy looking people. Although, I guess, how happy are you in a romance comic? Probably not that happy. This looked a little like he had his limbs cut off, but I realize he's falling to his knees. But the fact that I can't see feet or something, I was like, did you pull a Liefeld, Byrne? Could you imagine? He would be so pissed if he heard me say that. Thank God nobody important watches this shit. Anyway, that's freaking cool right there. I feel like that would have benefited from Byrne inking it. I could see that a little better. I'm so critical. You know, I feel I've always been critical of inkers. I just feel they can so make or break the art. Like, it's super important and such a dying art. And so weird how, like, I feel it's mostly because of, like, Procreate and Clip Studio. But a lot of the artists in Marvel and DC currently working pencil and ink themselves. And it's digital. And I think they're just hacks in a way. I hate to say it, but like there's not enough like diversity. Like you could put 5 of them next to each other and not be able to tell the freaking difference. And that's my bitter old man rant about it. How do you like that? That is such a freaking cool cover. I mean, come on. Even though this was probably the late 90s, we were still getting like gorgeous, amazing freaking art like that. Like that is so cool. That is a cover. I guess that's the one thing in defense. Here comes another criticism. Sorry. Okay, so this is Byrne doing like 3D imaging or computer graphics and stuff, which, I mean, I feel like it wasn't like elevated enough to be like that exciting. I'd rather see his art, to be honest with you. But I do appreciate the fact that he used it because it sort of homages in a way that, like, how much collage work and, you know, photographs and things like that that Kirby incorporated into his art. So for that, I will forgive it. Now, while this is an amazing image, John Byrne image of Darkseid, I felt like Bob Wiacek sort of just did a good job. Like, I feel like if this were inked by Terry Austin, it could be like a Magneto level, like that famous image that they did with all like the stippling and stuff. Like, it almost makes me want to ink it. Maybe I will. But anyway, just like all that kind of texture and effect, I just feel like the pose is so amazing and the expression is so menacing. I feel like it could be more. I'm sorry, Bob Wiacek, but it just could. We'll see how it changes once Byrne takes over on the inks. But it's still, I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved Bob Wiacek's work. You know, he probably inked maybe an issue or two of Fantastic Four. I know he did Alpha Flight for a few issues. But it's funny because I feel like Byrne was kind of like, I don't know what his philosophy was on inking. I feel like most pencilers would probably ink their work if they were afforded the time. I feel like I'm a stronger penciler than I am an inker, but I mean, goddamn, I've been busting my ass trying. I don't know, I love this so much for some reason. It looks like just the blue and the gold, the orange. They're complements in the color wheel, you know. So that panel just really pops to me. That's fun. That's very Peresian in a way. Although we see Perez and Byrne have certain gimmicks that are kind of similar in a way. That like this whole like building silhouette and I don't know. A little evocative. I mean, everything's not 100% original anyway, right? You might have seen some of this stuff in cave drawings for all we know. That's a beautiful cover. I will give it up to Walt Simonsen. It was nice of him to like bitch at DC for not giving Byrne the cover and but I mean, my God, he's a beautiful artist. See, I don't know. I mean, I have mixed emotions about that. It kind of looks cool, but it kind of looks like a big, cheap, lazy photostat or something at the same time. I feel like we're still on Wiacek on the inks. Oh no, we're moving to Byrne. But this is weird because this is also during the point where he was doing Wonder Woman at the same time, I think. And towards the end of Wonder Woman, like his inking started weird. I don't know. I feel like he was using markers or doing something different. And it wasn't great. It wasn't horrifying, but it just wasn't the best of Byrne. And towards the end of his run, coupled with what he was doing on this series, New Gods, his inking definitely got better. Which is weird to say. Like, who am I to critique or judge John Byrne, right? I love this panel. I think it's very much a testament to George Perez's work on Wonder Woman and his version of the Greek gods. And I think it's freaking amazing. And I love it. That is so cool. That looks so Kirby to me. I love it. Like, see, this kind of like design and the geometry of it is very, like, the symmetry and the blocky, I don't know, just the way it cuts across, sort of like you could see that on Galactus's girdle or skirt, or I don't know. I'm not versed enough in ancient attire or otherworldly attire. Sorry. The coloring feels a little hit or miss. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. This is like a great way to do a double page spread and still get a few extra panels out of it. Storytelling buffs. Very cool. Jacked up Kirby teeth and like crazy ugly face. It's funny because Kirby could draw really pretty women. He could draw really ugly monsters. It's funny because he had a strange sort of like dichotomy with his art. It was sort of delicate but brutal and like in your face but quiet and sort of beautiful yet grotesque at the same time. I know that's like so weird and like easy to say, but I don't know. I think that's just like part of the ultimate appeal and genius. Like, I think that Kirby is definitely one of those artists that you could probably analyze and dissect and just like really, I don't know, get into. But that's a very cool. I think Darkseid looks so cool, like in a silhouette like that. Or I mean, yeah, silhouette? No, profile. Yeah, profile shot. Well, he also looks cool in a silhouette. I'm thinking Action Comics number 600 by Byrne'S. Very cool to have. First of all, these 2 pages right here are very cool for 2 very cool reasons. Is that Byrne introducing like a version of Thor to the DC universe. Love that. Love that he has an A on his chest, like Avengers. Like, no, that can't be why. But anyway, like, I love this. I think the coloring on this page is great. I think it looks so cool. I love the crazy look on his face. And it's in a kind of a fun way. It's like John Byrne drawing the bearded Thor without having drawn the bearded Thor. And then to make it even cooler, on the next issue, not only do we get Walt Simonsen, who is probably best known for his legendary run on the Mighty Thor, drawing DC's version of Thor battling Big Barda, which, I'm sorry, I unapologetically worship Big Barda. I think she's amazing. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She has such a cool design. The New Gods really just all do. Like, it's funny because they kind of, and you may laugh, but I think of like Dave Cockrum's Futurians. Like, it's sort of something that was created after like the more brilliant and more quote unquote brilliant and more commercial stuff they created, but it's still dripping with the beauty of their aesthetic and like it screams their designs, and I don't know, they're just endearing in that way. Like, you can't help but love them. Like, I just look at these characters and I get such joy. I do not like the rendering on the face. I think that's completely unnecessary. Like, this nose draft underneath and like, ugh, like, shame on you. Sorry, I know you were trying to do some rendering, but it just looks awful. It looks like a drag queen contouring her face, and that should never be obvious. It should be not obvious. I don't know. This is like, you can tell Byrne is just like having the time of his life. This just looks so good and such a great testament to Kirby. And I mean, he really, say what you will about John Byrne, but he is like one of the most amazing comic book creators in history and always will be. Always will be, guys. I mean, there's a lot of crap going on here. He certainly did take us on a journey. And this is like, sort of like in between Next Men, I think. So it's funny because certain little things do remind me a little of Next Men, which I loved, of course. I know, you're never going to really find me saying too many bad things about John Byrne. Like, I pretty much love everything he does. even stuff that people may not consider their favorites, I've always loved. I love this too. I love this different take, like on Lee Lowridge, once again, a great colorist. I love this palette. Like, that is, like, not usual for, like, John Bernard. So I really appreciate that. This is very, like, quality level of, like, I feel like what he was doing with, like, the last Galactus story, perhaps. This is a fun cover. I don't know, Walt Simonsen just has, like, such fun energy, and, like, there's such a kinetic vibe to his covers. Like, that is so great. Like, that makes a great cover artist. I wonder why Byrne, you know, Byrne was kind of hit or miss with his cover runs. 28 issues of Alpha Flight, and he did every single cover. Fantastic Four, I can't recall him ever not doing the cover for Fantastic Four. I think there was that one issue, the Marvel, like, 35th anniversary issue, and Barry Windsor-Smith did the thing. That might have been one of the only times. X-Men, he did, like, George Perez, and actually, believe it or not, Terry Austin did a few X-Men covers. X-Men, of course, he did all the covers. OMAC, he did all the covers. Namor, he did all the covers. She-Hulk, he always did the covers. So I guess he does have a pretty good track record of mostly doing his cover runs, but every once in a while he didn't, and I don't know why. Like on Wonder Woman, there were a few covers done by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, which, of course, who doesn't want a cover by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez? But it just seemed kind of weird to me. Because and some people have argued that, you know, Byrne's covers are a hit or miss, but I think he's a pretty excellent cover artist and has some pretty amazing, iconic covers. But someone with his longevity, like, I think I recall perhaps him expressing just, like, a lack of desire to do covers because it does take a different sort of mindset. So maybe that has something to do with it. Now, this looks like someone, like, dressing up like Darkseid for Halloween. So I don't recall. I think this must be Darkseid's origin, or I don't know. Did he come from flesh to stone? I guess I should read this crap, huh, guys? So this is Byrne inking, and I feel like even though I'm super happy to see him inking, and the inking actually gets, like, so good by the end of this, but I feel like it's starting a little lazy, and this is kind of the crap he was pulling on Wonder Woman. But just some of the lines look a little off and sketchy for Byrne, and, like, these buildings don't look, like, completely finished. However, it's still amazing and loaded with detail, so I'm not going to bitch beyond that. I will bitch about this. With this big, gorgeous double-page spread, and it's basically, like, this weird, ugly, like, whatever crap he came up with on his computer. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, instant forgiveness. Look at how cool this page is. That is so freaking cool. I love Light Ray. Like, Light Ray deserves his own movie or something. He is so cool. Like, he is so heroic and just fun. I love it. And Kirby Crackle dots, Kirby dots for days. And, like, I love, because I feel like a lot on the Fantastic Four, because, like, in the Baxter Building and stuff, they had a lot of machinery and tech, and you always had, like, it was super John Byrne, but it always had sort of, like, a Kirby aesthetic that I feel, you know, like, he wouldn't do perhaps at Avengers Mansion, because, you know, Kirby is so Byrne. I mean, and I have a video on it, but, like, the 30-page, like, basically tryout samples Byrne did for Fantastic Four are freaking amazing. Very Kirby. Like, he's pretty much, like, cloning Kirby on it because he thought that's what they wanted. And in his defense, and it's funny, and I feel like this is why clones have been able to get work, and it's because they're popular and they're able to copy an aesthetic of an established artist that people like, and they usually blossom to the point of becoming their own artists. I mean, look at Byrne. He could be argued to be a Kirby or an Adams clone, and he might retain some elements of their aesthetics, but he is more than an artist in his own right, and just like perfection, and just like unmistakably John Byrne. These spreads are so good, and I feel like that must be the influence of the New Gods, because I feel like the New Gods was so like epic in scope, and I feel like Byrne plays to that very well, and just like does such a great job of paying tribute to that and keeping that vibe going. It's sort of like a remake of a movie, but with high regard for the original director. The color scheme here is so beautiful. I really appreciate this palette. Like, it's funny because you just can't take for granted. And it's funny because yellow and violet are complementary colors, so this works really well together. Looking like at this, I love this so much. Tales of the New Gods. Oh my god. Shameless Kirby crackle there, and I love every minute of it. That is so cool. I'm so glad that Byrne did this. Like, you know, Byrne's, and actually, oh my god, this is so amazing. What a beautiful splash page. I feel like this is like such a love letter to Kirby right here. I feel like this maybe not a swipe, but definitely highly influenced by Kirby, and this is so great. I love this so much. I should say colored by Noelle Goodings, written and drawn by John Byrne, and he's also doing the letters at this point. I mean, the crazy detail Byrne puts into this. It's like looking at this omnibus. Like, this is pretty much all Byrne here. And, like, one artist should feel lucky to have done all these pages in a lifetime. And this is just one of Byrne's omnibuses, you know, and there are many. And that's crazy. Just the sheer, if not for the, like, utter talent and just, like, amazing visuals he creates and endlessly entertaining stories, it's like just the sheer volume alone has to be respected to an extent. I mean, beyond an extent. So cool. Oh my god. I feel this is fun because I feel like you rarely, if never, get to see the back of Big Barda's helmet, and that looks so cool. I love that. That is so cool. It's making me just want to draw like a back version of her. I'll have to mental note that. But it's so cool. I love that so much. Like, these New Gods, just like, I don't know. Wasn't there supposed to be a movie and it got shelved? And like, if they did it right, it could be so cool. Although I think Eternals might have killed any notion of this happening. That's fun. This is like, it's funny because you talk about comic tropes, you know, because Chris Pierce has that really great comics tropes YouTube video channel about comic books. Totally worth checking out if you're not aware of it. He just got married. Congratulations. Anyway, I feel like tropes feels a little bit like derogatory, because it's like things that happen over and over again, or just, but whatever. I see it as sort of just like it is kind of what it is, and just like a hallmark rather. Might be a better way of saying it, but like, this is a hallmark of Byrne. I feel like we've seen this pose before, and I don't feel it makes him a hack. It just represents part of like his wheelhouse and like part of his bag of tricks, which is always fun to see. Oh my god, so cool. He draws the best like crazy women characters. Like, I want all the granny goodness I can get. Such a great Simonsen cover. Desaad, I think that's Desaad. I love Desaad for some reason. I don't know why. The New Gods are just like so cool. I mean, this crazy face, I just love it. Like, I can't help but think Byrne just must have had a fucking blast drawing this shit, because it's pretty freaking amazing. And like so all over the place. That's like the beauty, and I love they're on beautiful magic land, and this guy looks like he's just came off the cover of a romance novel. They sure ain't on Apocalypse now. This isn't, we're not in apocalypse anymore, Toto. Such fun characters. Mr. Miracle. What a fun character. It's funny, and admittedly, that is a great shot right there of Orion. Oh my god, that is so cool. And I just love the relentless, Kirby dots and crackle all over the place. I just love it. It's such a hallmark of Kirby, and such a, I try to include it in my own art whenever I can, or at least once in every project, I feel is necessary to honor the king. It's just crazy to think how much input and influence and just legacy Kirby has had on the comic book industry. I mean, it just really wouldn't be the same without him. And I'm not one of the types or ever going to argue Kirby versus Stan Lee, because I feel like they were two sides of the same coin and sort of necessary. I mean, sure, there was a lot of imbalance there, but I don't know. Anyway, great splash page of Orion there. Or not Orion, Light Ray. Random nude character flying around. That's cool from the front piece. This always seemed like such a weird, interesting character to me. Doesn't he ride on a surfboard? Which makes him even weirder, but still kind of fun, Kirby design. This is beautiful. I don't remember her, seeing Kirby ever draw this character, so, what is her name? Anyway, I have to look up. I have to get Kirby's New Gods. I love the storytelling going on here. It's so much fun. And John Byrne really does draw, good, fun choreography and just, great comic book storytelling. Dun, 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 dun. Look at this gorgeous Alan Davis cover for Genesis, Martian Manhunter, electric blue Superman, which I can't lie, I love that costume. I think it's fun. I think it was such a departure, and it just looks cool. Obviously it wasn't here to stay, so I know everyone gets up in arms over crap like that, but I loved it. I love the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. I was more familiar with him than Hal Jordan. I collected the run by Roger Mars and Daryl Banks. I loved it. I thought it was great. He was kind of my Green Lantern. Not that I don't love Hal Jordan, because I do. Ron Wagner penciler, Joe Rubenstein inker, and John Byrne writer. Interesting. It's funny, I was thinking Ron Wilson, but obviously it's not Ron Wilson. Who is this? Donna Troy. Oh my god, Donna Troy. I love you, Donna Troy. Not over the moon with this art. I mean, it's fine, but not great. It's funny because John Byrne, I think, said something in the introduction. Artemis. I gotta love my Artemis. Where'd her ponytail go in this shot? Oh, it's only her signature. Anyway. They forced Genesis as a company-wide event on them. And John Byrne kind of lamented that. I guess those company-wide events kind of ruined everything. It's why, I don't know. They're gonna, if I, let me edit at Marvel or DC, or both. I'll take them both over for 6 months. How hard could it be? I could turn everything around. I would just hire solid creative teams who, would do longer runs. And I mean, comic books are like soap operas in a way. You have this investment, and there's no investment anymore. It's one issue later, the creative team has departed. Stories last 5 issues at best, and they always change the status quo and then change it back again. So like there's zero investment. Like I was so committed to all this stuff that I bring to you guys. Like, you know, like I hinged on it. I needed it. It was like part of my DNA. And now what do I care, right? You know, if they're going to kill Wonder Woman, they're going to bring her back. I mean, what difference does it make? Anyway, please, please listen to me. This is such a beautiful splash page. I love this so much. And I have to say, Noelle Goodings is a pretty great colorist for Byrne. I've liked her stuff. I think Trish Mulvihill, who has colored a lot of Byrne stuff, was good too. And Matt Webb on Next Men. I feel like Byrne is definitely still relevant and pleasing with his art and still at the top of his game. But I think he definitely falls a little bit in the more old school category that shouldn't be overly rendered or overly like computer affected when it comes to his artwork being colored. And I feel that same way about like people like George Perez and probably like Art Adams and I don't know, anyone from that era. But I guess it depends on the project, the colorist, whatever. Never say never. Once again, I have to say, like, I freaking love Darkseid's design. I think he's, like, got to be the coolest DC villain. And, of course, he was created by Jack Kirby. It's kind of weird, like, with the New Gods. Like, could they not have stood on their own? Like, and they're, like, should Jack Kirby have just, like, self-published? Like, that kind of would have been awesome. Like, he wasn't tied to the DC universe so much. Like, it was just all Jack's creation, wasn't it? Like, too bad I don't know, maybe it was too soon for self-publishing, but I just wish he would have benefited in that way. This Genesis series looks all over the place, and I hear it was Jim Balent Catwoman, whom I loved. I have those. I'll probably be covering them at some point. That's pretty fun. I love that. That's actually like a great classic comic book page, and I love the bigger art too of this publication for that. It's cool. Love the use of Zipatone there. That's fucking fun. Oh, so that's fun there with the face being blown off. That's kind of awesome. Another great Alan Davis shot. I love it. It just like totally stands out as Alan Davis or a young Brian Hitch. I like when John Byrne is the writer. He gives the penciler and the inker credit over himself. Fully aware that comic books are a visual medium. No slam to writers, but without the art, you have nothing. Nothing. Beautiful. I love this. It's so like apocalyptic. How apropos. Crazy little character. I don't know. These characters are just so all over the place. Like I would almost love to see this like a CGI cartoon. Would be fun. Like super fun if they were, especially if they were able to pull off like Kirby's aesthetic. Like it's funny because DC I feel has done such a great job. Like maybe not such a great job, but sometimes like trying to emulate the some Walt Simonsen art, but trying to emulate the artist who did the actual art on the thing. Like I don't know, Killing Joke didn't really look like Brian Bolland that much, but you can't bring that kind of sort of detailed like shadowing and stuff he does and hatching on screen and animation. I don't think at this point anyway. But I would love to see like a Pixar sort of take on, you know, Kirby's full aesthetic. I don't feel like they've done that yet. I'm sure there's some fan art out there. I'd love to see it. I guess I'm going to have to Google so much stuff. I always have to Google so much stuff after my videos. And everyone's like, you should Google it before, bitch. Anyway, I love this. What a great panoramic shot. That is so amazing. Walt Simonsen is such a good artist. That's why John Byrne and him are good friends. It's like, you know, they're just like these amazing artists and like must have such mutual respect for each other. Freaking gorgeous Dark Side there. Loved, you know, that's why I love Walt Simonsen so much, of course, too, is because of his artwork on X-Men, New Teen Titans, Dark Phoenix, Dark Side, New Teen Titans, X-Men. I mean, inked by Austin. It was amazing. I've covered that too, if you feel like looking at it. I like Big Barda in other outfits other than her armor, especially this red bikini kind of thing. There's another kind of famous outfit of hers, but I don't know if it'll be referenced in here or not. But I love my Big Barda, and she's kind of She-Hulk in a way, so I would imagine she would appeal to John Byrne in that fashion. These backups are cool by Walt Simonsen. Simonsen is one of those artists who is especially good inked by himself. Fire and Ice, that's cool. Sometimes, no, I'm not going to knock it. I was going to say sometimes Byrne's like title letters look a little cheesy, but I like it. It's his aesthetic. It's pure Byrne. It's good. And wow, that is very cool. What a great shot there. Is this making you want this so much? I was so offended, by the way, at first. I've come around about the fact that they used a Walt Simonsen cover that I didn't even really want it. Of course, what it was, I think it was at the back of my brain. But then I saved, okay, so there's this app, and this is not a paid promotion. There's an app called Fetch Rewards, and if you scan your receipt, you collect points, and I saved up enough points to get like a gift certificate for eBay, and I got this Omnibus for $50, and I didn't pay a dime for it. So, of course, I had to get it, but I feel a little vindicated. I mean, it was paid for just because of my willingness to submit my identity to Fetch Rewards and have them know everything I buy. This is the Jason Pearson cover. How beautiful is that? I love that so much. Jason is my good friend and one of my favorite artists, and I love his art. And just the fact of him drawing Darkseid, that is so cool. And like, way to take advantage of like what makes Darkseid so cool with those glowing red eyes. And he just looks so cool and menacing there. I love it. Beautiful. Karan Grant. I love Karan Grant's penciling. Ray Kreising is a good anchor. John Byrne writer. Oh, Sal Buscema doing the layouts. So I'm guessing this must be early in Karan Grant's career. He would go on to do like the anime FF. And what else did he do? Maybe X-Force or something like that. I don't know. I just always loved his art from this era. That is kind of a little bit too sexy looking, granny goodness, but I'll allow it. And you, the viewer, are thinking, ew, you think that's sexy? Like, what is wrong with you? Come on, she looks very Miranda Richardson here from The Devil Wears Prada. Ooh, that is a cool Darkseid. I love that. Another example of why this is like the perfect size for this, for comic books. Like, I feel like that makes it just that much more epic and scope than the regular comic book size. Oh my god, gorgeous. This should be a poster that is so beautiful of Metron in his Mobius chair by Walt Simonsen. Simonsen draws space very well. He draws sword and sorcery, mythology, X-Men, Teen Titans. That is beautiful. I mean, that is Kirby for days. I love this. That is like a Kirby face, Kirby armor. Kirby space. It is all going on. This is gorgeous. I'd actually love to see the original pencils for this because I'm guessing the textures are just amazing on that one. It's so epic in scope. Who knew? We all knew, Michael. All us Byrne fans, all us Byrne victims, we knew. That's cool there. You don't ever see like that kind of angle on Darkseid. I love it. Very innovative. Such dreams may come. I always love John Byrne's titles for his stories. And what a beautiful, beautiful, interesting L.A. Williams, assistant editor. I want to thank you. I sent you my samples once, and you sent me a very nice note saying that you were leaving that position the following week, but encouraged me to continue, so thank you. Timing is everything, guys, and I guess mine sucks. Now, is this the cover? But no. Oh, okay. No, it's not. There's a lot of this going on. I feel that's very, like, fourth worldian. I swear I saw this face in the tile in my bathroom the other day. Or very similar. The bargain. Ron Wagner pencils. No more Ron Wagner. Thank you. Oh, that's cool. It's at Ares with some souped up armor or something. Let's get past this. Oh, it's only a couple pages. Oh, that's a cool cover. I don't even remember that one. Very psychedelic looking. Very cool. I mean, I've just had fun looking through this. Like, imagine how great it is reading it. Like, honestly, I can imagine seeing this and not wanting to read it. It is so cool. So in a way, it's funny because I feel like just having a different cover artist kind of betray the interior. Like, his covers are so gorgeous and beautiful, and they definitely would make me want to see what's inside. So I guess win-win, right? Ron Wagner again. Interesting. Oh, is that Byrne right there? Yeah. Very cool. I just love, like, once again, the symmetry and the geometry of the Kirby design. So cool. It's like a space opera, guys. Oh, yeah, he's on skis. Which is a little... Oh, really? Oh, really? Silver Surfer, Silver Skier. I love this car. Whatever it's called. Beyond Infinity. That's a cool cover. Oh my god, that is so cool. Granny Goodness, looking good and feeling fine. Byrne, are you inking? Yeah. Kirby dots, Kirby dots. I'm gonna invent a gun that you can just point at your paper and it'll shoot out Kirby dots onto it. Wouldn't that be fun? I know there's other easier ways to do it, but I'm looking for fun. Does she always have big, weird drag nails like that? She's such a drag queen. I love it. The best thing ever in life is Ed Asner voicing her for the Superman cartoon. I mean, it does not get any better than that and never will. Thank you. Dark side. You have such a dark side. Jesus, Lord have mercy. This is like never ending. I love that our lettering. I do. And that's cool too. Very minimalist splash page here, but it's kind of working for me. Like this would actually work for me as a t-shirt, hardcore right there. I love that. Genesis Rising. Oh, thank God it's not really Hitler. But why is there always got to be like Hitler or a Hitler-looking character? I hate that. Interesting. Simonsen. It's always a joy to see Byrne drawing Superman. Just when you didn't think this video could get any longer. Oh, Sal Valletta. I love his pencils, by the way. And Bob Layton inks. Interesting. Bob Layton is a very distinct inker. Byrne hated his inks on his art on Incredible Hulk Annual 7. He said he made his men look too pretty. More Granny Goodness. Where's my Granny Goodness miniseries? I'm gonna have to do it myself. Are you listening, DC? Bruce Timm, or no, Rick Burchett. Good Bruce Timm impersonation. Although Rick Burchett has been around for long enough to not have to be a knockoff of, oh my God, that is freaking amazing. Keith Giffen in like his Trencher style doing Granny Goodness. It doesn't get any better than that until you get to that. Such great art in here. That's amazing. I love that. Dusty Abell. Oh my God, I love Dusty Abell's art. Mark Badger. Very cool. I didn't even know all this cool crap was in here. This is amazing. Oh, Pencils and Inks by the late, great Norm Brayfogle. And that is like a beautiful piece of art. I love that. J.H. Williams III and Mick Gray. Pretty good. Mitch O'Connell, the great Mitch O'Connell, who illustrated Ginger Fox, great pop artist, love him. Steve Crespo, never heard of him. I don't really remember him or hearing him, but I really love that. I think that's very, very cool. It's like Balin meets Magnolia. Jurgensen Breeding. I do like Brett Breeding's inks. He's a great finisher. Randy Duburk. I loved Randy Duburk. Very limited art in like the late 80s, late 90s. Such a great aesthetic. I thought he was going to be huge. Gene Ha, that's cool. Michael Avon Oeming. Very cool to see his more delineated style. Such a beautiful shot of Light Ray by John Byrne there. Tom Mandrake, Luke Ross, John Byrne. I hated when Byrne like put those lines under the chick's eyes. Like, I don't know why he started doing that. The rule of thumb when drawing, especially women, the less lines on their face, the better, because you're just going to age them. I don't even know if that's any longer appropriate to say, but very different for Jim Califor before he would draw Aquaman, I feel. Valletto and McCone, cool. Light Ray, Ruler Highfather, Dark Side by Magnolia, like the payoff there, that is so cool. Magnolia's Cosmic Odyssey, another book that I covered, is so good. Leans into the Kirby, so good. Steve Rude, yes. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. That's the bikini I'm talking about. That's like kind of famous for Big Barda that I love. I love that outfit. It is the end. Can you believe it? Such a long episode. Hopefully you stayed awake through it. Anyway, that's The Fourth World by John Byrne, Omnibus. So amazing. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, share my content, and I'll bring you some more later. As I close this tome Oh, I hate dust jackets. Thanks, guys.